Hey everybody, welcome back to BRStv. Brian here, and today we're talking with Kyle from Adaptive Reef. We're going to be highlighting their new product. It's super exciting. I can't wait to talk about it. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Kyle, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us. Tell us what we got to look forward to.
Yeah, so most of us know us from wire management. We started getting into filtration and trying to push where filtration can go, especially with how you control it and what you can do with it. We've had some hits, we've had some misses, but we're here to kind of push as much as we can, as fast as we can. And we decided that, we needed something to grow algae because algae is a consistent nonstop issue in this hobby. A lot of people can run refugiums or Chaeto reactors and stuff like that. Other people can't, or they just don't grow what you want. So we made a product that grows just algae. It's that simple. Instead of trying to complicate what it does or complicate, the overall goals, it's very simple. It is a confined space to run a refugium or whatever you want to grow nuisance or algae that you want. Very simple. Oh, and it runs by the blade, which makes everything so much better.
Yeah, blade lights are awesome. I don't think they get quite enough love because I grow SPS under them and they do great. They're awesome lights. For the amount of power that you get out of them, they're fantastic. So you guys are utilizing one, and it's the refugium light, I assume, but you guys are using that for this AI. And what is the official name of this thing? Because it does like 8 things. So
We call it the refugium reactor because that's what it is. We wanted a product that you can add a refugium and or something in any system. So right now we're doing 2 sizes you see here. In the future, we will do a hang on the back version. We'll probably end up doing a larger one depending on, how this goes and what the reaction is to it. But it's honestly there to just grow as much algae as it possibly can. So it's just not in your display tank. And we've made it as easy as we can think of to harvest it, to clean it, to maintain it. And that's one of the reasons why we went with the blade light. It's one light on top. And, AI has the pedigree of designing and building lights. Adaptive doesn't. We don't have an SMT line here. So why are we trying to reinvent such a great product? So we might as well start building ecosystems around that. It's just like running CJ pumps in our skimmers. We use CJ pumps in our skimmers because they have a 5-year warranty and they're awesome. Yes, we can make our own pump. Yes, we can source something, but CJ is one of the best. AI is one of the best. And, it's all assembled in the United States. We build all of these in Canada, so you can't really get better. On top of all that, you get the functionality of it running with your Apex, Mobius, and all that. So it's a win-win.
yeah, it's great. And I love that mentality, right? No reason to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's doing something really great, and you can use that to make something really great, just use it, right? There's a problem there. I think too many people get caught up in that. A lot of like smaller manufacturers get caught up in that, like, oh, we want to do everything, and it's not necessarily a reason to, right?
No,
I think that's really cool.
we would have spent a lot of R&D time on the pump and then on the light and all that when we really excel in doing design manufacturing for this. This is where our strong suit is. So we like staying in our lane and we like working with people, and AI was just an amazing fit, especially with our relationships in our history. It was just why not? Let's just get it done.
Yeah. So I like the idea of this product because I actually have one particular tank at home that I'm thinking of right now that I would love to get one of these on because it's got a sump, but it's a fairly small sump, and I'd like to have a refugium in it, but honestly, it would just take up so much room that I got to have extra power head and all that stuff in there that I got to, and whatever, right? So it's really not set up very well for it. But one of these I think would be great, right? Because I could just set it in there.
Yeah.
But and you said it's made to grow algae.
Yep.
And if I recall, there's multiple different methods you can do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So it comes with the adjustable stand. The adjustable stand has 1-inch increments up to 10 inches. So it can be ran fully submerged or out of the water, depending on what you want to grow. If you want to run it half and half, go ahead. And then we can really just put, or you guys can just really put, or anybody can just put whatever kind of algae you want, whether it's Chaeto, grabbing a tuft of algae that's growing mad in your tank and throwing it in there, kind of seeding it so it, outcompetes your tank. And it's that simple. It comes with a removable basket with 2 handles on it, so it's super easy to clean and maintain. Those would be also sold separately, so if you break it or whatnot, it is polycarbonate, so they should last almost forever. But you can rip them out. You can kind of do whatever with Kato. We learned, we want to design something that tumbles it or something like that in the real world. When we did testing, that's actually kind of hard to do in a lot of use cases. So instead of doing that, this tray system, you just grab, pull it out, shake it a bit, make sure it tumbles around, and then put it back in. You're good to go. You do that once a week with your maintenance, and the Kato won't die on you. So
A great way to shake the detritus and everything out of there too, pretty easily, right? I mean, that's a good idea. Okay. Yeah, no, I love it. So I like that too. You said it can be used completely externally.
oh yeah, externally, in sump, again, submerged, not submerged. Again, you can't submerge the blade light, so it's designed to run submerged right under the AI logo. So the AI logo, where it starts, is kind of your spot where you want to run it submerged. And then it's also ran the internals. There's a lot of internal structure to it. Is ran on back pressure, so you can run this thing really low gallon per hour, or really high gallon per hour. We kind of wanted to cover, through our history from making so many filters and so much stuff, we wanted to cover pretty much everybody. And, who are we to dictate how you run your successful reef? We're just giving you the tool to be more successful. That's all we're trying to do.
It is a cool product. I dig it. Just to be like completely candid, it really is.
Yeah, it's very simplistic. We went nuts with the skimmers that we made. We made it every bit controllable, from a patented reducing neck size to a needle valve to control exactly how much air, to the CHADC pump, to a standpipe, to everything. And what we've learned is that is great for a percentage of the market, but what most people want is a really nice tank without algae in it. And however that is achieved is what we need to try to provide. So we could easily make a product that is very tight in its lane, where it's designed to just grow one type of algae or whatnot. Instead of going down that road, what we're doing is we're designing a product or a vessel to control and grow in one spot whatever is taking over your tank. I don't care. We don't care what it is. It could be bubble algae. It could be hair algae. It could be, a bunch of things.
So you can have one of those baskets full of bubble algae, right?
Exactly. It needs to grow in this, so it doesn't grow in this. So that's all it's there to do in its very simplistic form. Now, it does have a bunch of other benefits and things like that, but that's not what we're going after. Those are just bonuses.
Okay. So that's kind of where the reactor name comes in, right? A little bit because it's not just a refugium.
Nope.
Right? And it's not an algae scrubber.
Nope.
It's like this hybrid.
Yeah, it's a refugium that you can kind of put wherever you need, controllable, without all the hassles of putting a refugium. Because you might run it and then in 6 months not run it.
Right.
Then you can pull it out of your tank, and guess what? It's shaped in a way that fits on a shelf. The stand nests on top of it, so you're not left with a bunch of parts and a bunch of things. So you can store it easy. I mean, you can do a bunch of stuff with it. We really went through all of the mechanisms and all the use cases because we've tested it for over a year and a half now. So it's been tested and been used now for over a year and a half before we felt comfortable enough saying, hey, you know what, we're ready to kind of launch this thing and go the next step with it to see.
Yeah, great idea. It's super cool. Love that you guys have been testing it for a while. And I think you said something really interesting there a little while ago too. And you're talking about like nuisance algae, right? The only reason we call them nuisance algae is because they grow where we don't want them to, right? I mean, so anything, and that's like what a weed is, right? A weed is just something that we don't want growing where it's growing. And the same with like Aptasia. Aptasia is not really a pest. It's only a pest because we don't want it in our tank, right? But it tells us that our system is running and it's able to support life, and it just may not be the life we want.
Yeah.
But you said something great there, because it's like you can you can use this, like you said, rip off a tuft of green hair algae and throw it in this thing, let it grow in there, let it go nuts in that thing, and then eventually it'll stop growing in your main display, right?
Yeah,
I mean, who cares if you've got it in there, as long as it's not growing where you don't want it.
Yeah, the idea is that it outcompetes your display tank. Why and how? By running it 24/7.
24/7.
It helps with pH. Again, it has a lot of use cases and a lot of benefits, but that's not what we built it for. We went with the simple approach of we would like to grow nuisance algae in a box under our tank so it's not in our display. And our thinking behind it is that is probably one of the number one issues reefers have in aquariums, even in freshwater. It's just you want to grow nice coral or even just have clean rocks and stuff in your display system. So if you do have an issue, you just want to outcompete it. We've, again, with our skimmers, with our reactors, with all the OEM stuff we do, we always get lost in the weeds with trying to solve all the problems and all these issues without just looking at it very simplistically. We just want to outcompete what's in our display tank. What does it matter what it grows? I personally don't care. Why would I? It needs to grow stuff that I don't want in my display tank. It's crazy and as fast as possible.
Yeah, and that's the perfect place to grow it. You know, if you've got something particularly that's just you cannot get rid of, why not try to get it to grow there? And then as you beat it back in your main tank, it'll start growing there more prolifically. And then, you know, eventually you can figure out how to get it out of there. But yeah, and you know, I mean, I've known people that have torn down their tanks and just given up because they couldn't get rid of either green hair algae or cyano or whatever the case would be. Like just for people to be hobby, they're like, I'm done.
A lot of systems are set up, and a lot of new hobbyists, even old hobbyists, what happens, you set up a nice system. I mean, you spend thousands of dollars on it, and you run into a problem, whether it be cyano or hair algae or something like that, and then you spend the next 6 to 8 months trying to battle that instead of enjoying the hobby. So sometimes the best case scenario is instead of saying, hey, go buy all these, you know, these additives or do all this and wait 8 months or 6 months or whatever, you know, sometimes it is better to just rip down the system and restart because it's going to be quicker and you can enjoy your hobby a lot quicker. So that was like the foundation of doing this. It's like, okay, well, how do we tell people that, or how do we help people not having like an 8-month wait or having to break down the system? It's like the most simple form is we need to grow whatever is bad again in your display tank in a controlled environment. And this is, again, what came out of it. Very simple, because I find a lot searching the forums and stuff like that is, I mean, people set up these nice display tanks and they just have hair algae everywhere. And then for like 6 months in their thread, they're just battling hair algae. It's like, well, that's not a hobby. At a certain point, who's going to be honest with them and say, look, just break down the tank, pressure wash all the rock, and just restart, because it's a way faster and easier ways than trying to go down this rabbit hole. So, I mean, that's what
you'll probably have. Yeah, for sure. And you'll probably have more fun setting up a new tank than you'll cleaning hair algae along the way. But, you know, I've always been like just like ridiculously patient with it sometimes. Like I've had those outbreaks where it's like 4 to 6 months to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I kind of just, you know, I know it's going to go away, you know, and I'll do a little bit of manual removal, but sometimes patience is a virtue in those. And this is great because you add this, and again, you get that reactor starts to outcompete your display for that stuff. It's just a great idea. And really,
it takes a couple weeks to get going, but then after that, it usually just starts out competing, and then you can refine it and do more. And as it becomes more and more available on the market, there'll be more and more research and people using it in different ways that even we didn't expect. I mean, that's what happened when we started testing it. People started using it crazy. We used to have a stand that wasn't adjustable. We used to not have a removable tray. We used to not have, you know, the whole mechanism inside of it. So it's, you know, we used to not run with back pressure until everybody just started using it with a bunch of random pumps. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, so over the last year to solve that problem, we've been just chipping away at everybody's use case and being like, okay, well, here's a blank canvas. Take it and then use it as you want.
And I like that approach too. You know, I come from a background in product development as well. I've seen it with a lot of products. You know, somebody just tries to get into the market as quick as possible. And what they end up with is a product that solves about, 50% of the problems, or, they get something that's great in theory, but it has to have so many caveats to it in order to work. And you guys really took your time, built a great product, tested it, took that feedback, adjusted your product. And it's great that you were able to take that time and actually put out something that now is, pretty universal, and works the way you want it to and just functions well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're lucky enough we're the brand that we are, and we're the size that we are, that we now get to take a lot of time with the products, and our launch schedules now reach over 3 years. They used to reach like, what are we doing this month and stuff like that. But we have great partners, obviously, and we make a lot of things in this industry now. So we're lucky enough to now we get to really take our time and see kind of where the needs are and where we see the needs are and where we can fit. I mean, again, we really want people to be successful, or there's no hobby. I mean, that's kind of just how it is.
Yeah, 100%. And it's we do a weekly live Q&A session, right? And one of the top questions, there's basically two sections that we get the most questions about, and one is tank cycling, and the other is algae control. It's just that, I mean, those two, they're like right equal to each other. And I love that now we have, because there are all these different things you can do. We always say, like, refugium is one of the best things you can do, right? Put a refugium in there. But that's not always an option for everybody. So I love that now we have another tool in the toolbox that we can throw at somebody and say, here's another option for you. If you can't put a refugium in, or you don't have the space for that, or whatever the case may be, or it just doesn't work for you, here's another option. This is this reactor, works great. And I love that you're working on a hang on the back model too.
Yeah. That's hang on the backs are actually more complicated to do than these, just because they hang on the back of a system and they're a pressure vessel. So they're interesting to make. They can sometimes cost a lot more to manufacture than a standalone unit, which people are usually surprised of. So a hang on the back skimmer is actually, production wise on our side, costs more to make than a in-sump one. It's just how it kind of works.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's funny, my very first reef tank ever was filtered by a hang on the back algae turf scrubber. Very first one, which was, it was huge.
Yeah.
And that old standard glass tank did not like it hanging on the back. That still worked for a really long time. So there's
a lot into hang on the back things, especially they need to fit so many different types of tanks. We work really well, and we worked on the Hello Reef system and stuff like that, but there's so many different types of tanks out there, and to be honest with you, no one's has really standardized anything. So it's interesting as a manufacturer. I think we have, because we do a lot of wire management, I think we probably have 50 plus stands here, minimum, to make sure things fit.
Yeah. I've been setting up some new tanks in my studio. I could use some wire management help. You should just send your best wire management person to my house, and then he can just just really get some good product feedback, then and I'll stand there and help.
Yeah, no, wire management is very interesting in this hobby. It's again, I'm from a world of doing gaming PCs and stuff like that, and benching systems and doing that, and that's kind of is a big part of my hobby, or a part of my life, is just setting up systems to bench and doing all that stuff. So that's where my passion kind of came from, with wire management and setting up stuff. But overall, there's a lot in the pipe work to help people wire manage, no matter what you use, what products you're into, and whatnot. We're doing our best to try to standardize as much as we can. But again, it's interesting because we end up working with 20 plus companies to try to force them to standardize for everybody, not just us, just for everybody.
Everybody. Yeah, it's the wire management thing is huge, because if you've got, if you're somebody that has your display tank in the main part of your house, you don't want all that wire everywhere. But it's also, sometimes it's just hard to get all that stuff underneath the stand.
Yep.
It really is. I mean, and I'm a bigger guy, so it's getting in there, getting my big sausage fingers in there to tape and strap wires together and just get them out of the way. It's a pain. So I used to always, the first house I ever built for myself, actually, I built a tank room in it so that I just had everything there, and I didn't care how it looked, and I just had everything on the walls, so I didn't have to worry about little tight spaces and stuff, but that's not always practical.
Yep. I mean, that's some of the design philosophy that we went into this. This is, again, why we like the Blade. It has a remote power supply. The controller is really, non-existent, and it's a nice shape to work with and put under stuff, and you don't have, a bunch of stuff around it. Very clean and easy, and again, the stand nests on top of it, so if you ever want to store it later in life, it's easy. There was a lot of thought that went into this thing. A lot.
It's super slick looking too. That's another thing. I mean, they look really cool, and I love that the AI is cut out and it lights up. I think that's awesome.
That's kind of our thing. We like flashy, glowing logos. If no one's noticed.
Well, yeah, and I've never seen anything that you've made like that I wasn't like, oh, that's really cool. So, you guys do a great job. Out of curiosity, you guys ever do like custom work for people? If there was some like serious reefer out there that's like,
we do a lot of custom work. That as we've grown and changed, we do bigger and bigger systems. So we helped with Jake Paul's system. Other Hollywood people, sports stars. We did Ozzy Albies system. We work really well with Infinity Aquariums. So any of their projects that they're on, we're usually involved in some way or form to help them out and kind of make it a very special thing. But yeah, we do custom work. We do less and less of it now, not because we don't have the requests for it. It's just the amount was getting a little bit out of hand, to be honest with you. And custom work is difficult because it's hard to keep everybody happy, and it's very time consuming. So what we try to do now is put our custom ability into the products we sell. So it's more affordable, more reachable for more people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. After you do so much of that, you probably have a pretty good idea what most people are looking for and can do that. And
yeah, I mean, that's where our controller cabinet kind of came from with now the acrylic front and stuff like that. We were getting more and more calls for, a acrylic front or a glass front, a clear front like that. When people were putting them beside their tanks, underneath their tanks. So instead of charging, tons to do custom ones all the time, we just revamped our line. And again, since I'm literally sitting in a 20,000 square foot facility right now with 40 plus people working on Adaptive Reef stuff. So we make stuff here in Canada. So we're able to change and support a lot quicker than a lot of other brands because we are physically actually making it. We're not just ordering in, a bunch of random things. I have CNCs. I mean, you can probably hear them through the video. We have CNCs going multiple. We have brand new CNCs we actually just picked up. They run pretty much almost 24/7 now with tool changers and stuff along those lines. So we're able to, adapt and better our brand very quickly within, a week or so. And it goes and helps with product development.
Sure. No, that's awesome. You guys do great work. Awesome stuff. I know I can't personally wait to get one of those algae reactors.
I think we're sending out all the ones for all the influencers probably next week or the week after. So you're probably getting a bunch.
Hopefully I'm on the list. I'm gonna have to get my hands on one of those cabinets too.
Yeah. No, we'll maybe pack it inside of it and ship it all together.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, because again, me trying to squeeze into the tank stand of my Nios is it's funny. It's probably pretty funny to watch whenever my kids or my wife come downstairs and see me just like trying to fit in there. So but anyway, Kyle, thanks a lot. Thanks for taking some time with us today. Awesome. Can't wait to see this refugium reactor get out there and start working on people's tanks and I don't know, getting it done.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, cool.